All right, we are back here on the podcast, week 3 of Hard Knocks coverage on the podcast. Our host, Mike Phillips, with me today to break it all down here. Jet fan, host of the Recovery Room stream on Twitch, Nick D'Alessio is here. Nick, how are you?
I'm great, Mike. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be on the sports podcast, not just talking about Star Wars and video games for once, you know?
Yeah, it is nice here. I want to get an actual Jet fan on. I promised the audience that when the Jets were picked for Hard Knocks, I do episodes coverage every single week. So this is week number 3. I did week 1 solo. Week 2, I had Sandro, the pop culture correspondent, on. So I said I need to get an actual Jet fan on this week.
I'm glad I could be the Jet fan representative.
Yes, for sure here. So, what'd you think about this week's episode? Because we picked up a little less Rodgers. You got some more of the rest of the team. How you feel?
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that because it kind of felt like Hard Knocks with Aaron Rodgers featuring the Jets. Like not like the first few weeks. Like it was like Rodgers' show. So he took a little bit of a backseat this one. I think this one, I don't know if it's because of that, but I think this one was a little bit not as good as the first two, but I thought it was still a really enjoyable episode.
Yeah, that was fun here. So let's start out here. I think I want to start with Randall Cobb because there's a big Randall Cobb week on the show because I guess the big speech to the receivers thing in the episode about how hey, I spoke to Aaron the stuff was going wrong in the locker room in the meetings, he's not going to throw to you guys if you're making mistakes, so you got to clean it up. And then later on we see the great scene where he's sitting with his wife and his kids. He's telling the 2 kids that they're gonna have a baby. What'd you think of the Randall Cobb week?
Yeah, no, I thought I like that. Not every veteran player on a team has to take a leadership role.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that Randall Cobb is kind of doing that. Especially it's a really young receiving core for the most part. So he's kind of hey, listen, I've been here. I know what he's like. I know what this is like. And it's not like Randall Cobb was a bum. Randall Cobb was a pretty solid receiver most of his time in Green Bay. So and I have a personal connection to Randall Cobb because for I don't know 3-4 years in a row he was on my fantasy team. So I'm a Randall Cobb fan. And I like with his kids. The one young kid is super stoked. He's like, yeah, we're having a baby. And then the other kid's like, am I gonna have a baby too? And he starts getting really sad. I just thought that was a really funny maybe not how they planned it moment, but definitely a core memory type moment.
Yeah, I think it was funny. I think he said the kid was he's like, can I want a baby in my tummy too. That was funny.
It's that's not how it works, but you know what? It's fine. You're excited.
Yeah, I did like that he calls he calls his family the Cobb Mob.
Yeah. I guess they put their hands in every night and they do a whole Cobb thing. That's how they try to break it to the kids. Yeah, I hope that Randall Cobb. I mean, even stat wise this year, if he doesn't really produce that much, he's definitely somebody on the sidelines that I think could be a good leadership role.
Yeah, let's go also to next Robert Saleh's speech of the week. Obviously, week 1 we had the Crow and Eagle speech. Last we get the rant to the O-line. This week we get this sorting game where it's commanders, contenders, competitors, and survivors. 4 types of guys on a team. Survivors basically the guys who just do the bare minimum to get by. The competitors are motivated by money or job. Contenders rise above all of that, and commanders lead the contenders. Maybe contenders plus. So, A, how you like this speech, and B, which one of these do you feel like you fall into?
I liked it. I get his point. I think I don't think Robert Saleh is as charismatic as previously on Jets Hard Knocks when you had Rex. But you can't compare him to Rex. They're different styles. But I get his point. He's trying to tell everybody where are you on this team? What do you want to be? Where would I be? I mean, I don't know. I want to say what's the 4 in order again from worst to least, best again.
Survivor is the person who's just coasting by, doing the bare minimum to get by.
Right.
Competitor is basically
right. They kind of needed some additional a little push to do the thing.
Yeah, it's you're doing this for the money or for external factors motivating you to do, not because you're choosing to do something.
Right.
Contender is you have the internal drive to actually get better and improve yourself, and commander is the super version of contender.
I want to say I'm a contender, but I'm probably probably a competitor. Probably a little bit more on the competitor side. I get my things done, but I think sometimes I need a little push to get the things done. So I probably fall in that category.
Yeah, I feel like I hover between 2 and 3. I'm not down all the way down in Survivor territory, although I will say that I think we need a little bit better branding on this from Salah because I think we had the three C's and the last one's an S. I don't think it makes him flows very well.
Yeah, and also the best one is the same as contender. No, no, yeah, but it's just they take people with them. It's a little.
Yeah.
I get his point. His point's a good one. He's like, where are you guys on this? Where do you want to be? He wants a team full of everybody on the same page. So in that respect, I get what he's trying to say. I'm just like, I don't know. He's like reading off of like an iPad or like a
Yeah.
tablet the whole time. Like I don't know. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great speech giver, locker room giver guy. You know.
Yeah, plus, I mean, the commander title, I mean, we have a football team named the commander. It's a little confusing also.
Yeah, yeah. Also, the first speech in the first episode, the whole crow, even that, I was kind of like, huh, like scratching my head a little bit. Like, I get what he's saying, but he's trying.
Yeah.
He's trying, and it seems like the players respect him, so that's ultimately what matters.
Yeah. Let's go with the running backs also. We got a lot of running backs today. We got Dalvin Cook coming here. We got the finally got that footage from the first week of camp, but they did a teasing. They put it in the episode. There's times he signed, and he's got a little bit of him before he found out he's just waiting for his wife to have a kid, so he's not here yet. Brees Hall, we got him off the pup list this week. We got a little bit Izzy Canada, the 5th-round pick. Like, which running back got your attention of the three we saw this week?
Honestly, I mean, Dalvin Cook is the biggest story, but I really like that Izzy kid. How do you say his last name?
About a Canada.
About it, kinda. Yeah, he's trying. He's trying to make the roster, and he's. I mean, well, spoiler alert, he kind of gets hurt in the game, and when that happened, when his whole family's there, I was like, oh no, because I'm rooting for him hard because especially the Jets got a lot of good running backs. Our running game should not be our issue, and then you add Dalvin Cook to that, so it's just like I don't know what role Dalvin Cook has on this team, but it's Dalvin Cook. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
he could be like when the Jets brought in Tomlinson that one year, and he still put up 1,000 yards his first year. You know, he could very well be something like that.
Yeah, for sure here. I did like the Brees Hall segment because obviously you know how great he was last year before he got hurt. Because obviously, like if he makes it the whole year, he probably beats out Garrett Wilson, offensive rookie of the year. It's just crazy. I did also enjoy like the spot where like the Daniel Tackett trying to introduce himself to Brees Hall, and Brees Hall's like just ignoring him.
Yeah, yeah, that was funny. Yeah,
He's like, "Hi, I'm Nathaniel, I'm one of your coaches."
yeah, and he's like, "Hi, hi, nice to meet you." Yeah. Also, how fast did Brees Hall run on that slant? Like 22 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's like 23 miles an hour.
Yeah, and this guy is coming off of an injury, and
Yeah.
he's chugging 23 miles an hour. That's insane.
Yeah.
I hope that's not like that injury. He's not an injury prone player. That this was just a freak thing because like he's definitely special.
Yeah, it is here. Excited to see like more of him as the season gets on here though. Let's take a detour here. We have Woody Johnson meet the team, and he's got the big giant ass Sauce Gardner style blinged out Woody chain. Like Woody should.
Oh my god,
that was like so like random.
it was kind of like it kind of felt like you know, like when you have some friends over and like your dad comes down and he's like trying to be all cool and he's like trying to use the same like slang that you do with your friends or like get in on like an inside joke. It was kind of like I I don't I get it. Again, like with Robert Sala, I get it. He's like he's like, hey, I'm one of you guys. Like I'm getting pumped up with you guys. You guys got me all excited. But it's like you're also like a billionaire, you know? Like it's kind of like a weird. I thought it was a weird take to be like, look at this crazy expensive thing I bought. Also, like I'm really proud of this team. Like I don't know, maybe since I'm not in the locker room, it didn't hit me like the players did. The players seem to enjoy it though, so that's what matters, right? If the players are happy.
Yeah, I think they're laughing at him, not with him.
Yeah, they were definitely laughing at him. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I also did think it was funny that like he's not trying to say, "Look, I'm as cool as Aaron Rodgers and Sauce Gardner with their bling."
Yeah. I guess how many other owners, I guess, in the NFL would do something like that? So probably not too many of them. So in that regard, I think it's cool.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's go. Also, we get another joint practice because the Jets and the Bucks had a joint practice before they played their preseason game last weekend here. So a lot of fights. Again, big Garrett Wilson saying here. What do you think of the joint practice stuff?
I'm surprised there aren't more fights. Like the Carolina one last week, there wasn't really. It got a little chippy, but like it didn't like break out into fights. This one was just like fights. And I love how offended Quentin Williams got when Mike Evans called him fat.
Yeah.
It messed him up. He was like, "I'm trying to lose weight," you know. He's like talking, and then he confronts Mike Evans afterwards, and he's like, "Man, why'd you say that?" He's like, "That stuck with me, man." You know, like that was messed up. Yeah, I'm surprised there aren't more fights because I mean the players are fighting with each other. So you bring in another team during a practice, they're gonna try to one up each other, you know.
Yeah, I did enjoy this. One of my favorite like hitting Rodgers moments of the episodes when he and Baker Mayfield are off on the side, and like, I was like, "Oh look, fight broke out already."
Yeah. He wasn't surprised at all. He's like, "Oh, another fight. Okay, here we go."
Yeah,
And then Sauce, I think Sauce this with this episode, I think what we learned about him is like he had a phenomenal rookie season.
yeah,
He's still kind of a rookie though. He's
yeah.
still kind of got that mentality like he doesn't need to be jumping into those fights. He doesn't need to try to be showing people up. You know, I think you're seeing with him there's still some growth that needs to happen with him, and he's only in his second year. So, but that kind of you can kind of tell he kind of instigated, and then he was kind of off to the side. He's got some growth still.
Yeah, I also did like they took this spot to show us that hey, like Garrett Wilson's gonna be the Aaron Rodgers go-to guy. Like that was nice to see.
Yeah. Because what did Rogers say? Rogers was talking to Mark Sanchez, right?
Yep.
And they're like, they brought him up, and Rogers was like, "Oh, he's special,"
Yeah.
and he didn't say it in like a. I think we've seen enough Aaron Rodgers talking to people where you can tell when Aaron Rodgers is being like, I'm in the public eye, kind of talking guy, and then when he's like being serious. And
Yeah.
it seemed like talking to other football players, he was like, "There's something about this kid that's special."
Yeah.
Oh, I hope Rodgers is right. I mean, you would think Rodgers, the amount of receivers he's played with, if he says somebody special, I hope it's true.
You certainly do hope it's true. And we also get like our traditional hard knocks, like here's the guy at the bottom of the roster trying to make the team segment. We haven't got one of those yet. We get one with Tanzel Smart, who has a very tall him, considering how stacked the defensive line is here. Like, what do you think about this guy?
I won't spoil anything as far as MVP picks later, but I became a Smart fan this episode
Yeah.
because he wants it. You can tell he wants it, and he's stuck. He's just barely hung on into the league, and he had a couple of moments where he was able to shine, and I think that was cool. I hope he makes it. Hard Knocks is focusing so much on the players that are like not the guaranteed starters that sometimes you forget that like, oh yeah, we're already pretty stacked. Like, where's this guy gonna fit? But he's trying. I earned a lot of respect for him because he's definitely trying. I want to get the man a Carcucci board. He deserves it.
Yeah, he should have his own Carcucci board. Like he makes the team.
A Carcucci board, yeah, he deserves it.
I mean, I look at the Jets defensive line. We talked about a couple of weeks here that this is the strength of the team. They have like it's so stacked. It's like you're looking at this thing like unless somebody gets hurt, he's not making the team. Unfortunately, he's given the way the roster has to fall.
And then who's that rookie that was in last week's episode? Or no, he's not on the line. He's a linebacker.
I don't know, like he was the first round pick this year. Will McDonald.
Yes, yeah. He looked really good too. So it's like, this is a good problem to have, right? You have too many options, you know.
Yeah, it's a great problem. And then we get a fun spot here because remember last week when the rookie show got like bashed by everybody because it was terrible.
It was bad.
Yeah, the rookies brought it this time. They came back with a traditional, like more like dance singing performances here, and this is so much better. The highlight though was Jerome Cap like rapping his Eminem was hilarious.
Yeah, so I went into this being like this has got to be better, and it still started off a little cringe, but like at least it was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he came out and they were like, "What is this Eminem over here?" And then he actually does the 8 Mile thing, and then they call him B Rabbit the rest of the episode. Like that was it was funny because like he got so into it that everybody got into it, even players that you would be like that they just show randomly that you're like, who's that guy? Oh yeah, like he's getting into it too. It was funny. That was definitely funny.
Yeah, I just wish that like, I mean this is not as good as last year Aiden Hudson doing Billie Jean, but like this is pretty good.
So is that a thing they do every year? They do like a song dance
it's like
kind of thing,
a rookie show kind of thing where like rookies either like do like a skit or like sing or like entertain the vets, and like what they did last week with like the app game and like the interpretive dance just didn't work.
Yeah, and especially the app game. As somebody who like I love playing like Jackbox games with people, like if everybody's not on board, it's not going to work. That was not the right venue. They definitely redeemed themselves this week for sure.
Yeah, the mistake I think they made last week is not making it multiple choice. When you're asking asking like 60, 70 veterans to say, "Hey, fill in the blank for me." You're not gonna like get like good answers out of this.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, what's his name? Cap? I don't even know. I'm gonna forget his name. Maybe his performance was too good because like he's B Rabbit.
Yeah,
As far as I know, he's B Rabbit. I mean, he's good luck on him for him, right? Making that receiving core,
yeah,
he's gonna have big hill to climb. But yeah,
yeah. And Zach Cruz, who was the architect of the rookie show last week, like he did redeem himself with the shirtless like Sandy performance also.
yeah. He definitely had to redeem himself too. Everybody did, and I think they all did a decent job.
Yeah. So now let's go to the preseason game here. Jets Bucks. This ends up being a 13-6 Jet loss here. A couple of things I want to touch on here. Like the Zach, you have we got the origin story of Zach Wilson's headband?
Was that the first time we heard the origin of it?
Yep.
Yeah, because that was funny too. Because Rogers is like, "Really, man?" And he's like, "No, it's not for fashion. I need to." He's like, "I sweat too much. It gets in my eyes." I'm like, "Okay." This I don't know if Zach Wilson was always like this or having Rogers here is making him better, but like, I think everybody's becoming a Zach Wilson fan this show.
I think he's been the biggest winner of Hard Knocks thus far.
Yeah, and he seems. I mean, obviously like he still went out there and they didn't really put up any points, but he's not playing with any starters. That run that he did in that game though, when he's going out and then he cuts back in and then he shoulders the guy,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god! And then it was funny to see Rogers and everybody else on the sidelines being like, go out of bounds. What are you doing? But Wilson seems like he's having fun for the first time since he became a Jet.
And I said biggest where the non-Rogers are because Rogers definitely needed the positive PR from this show is giving him.
Yeah, yeah. And then I like that they did that little flashback too, where they were like, Rogers said something to Wilson along the lines of, he's like, "You're too athletic. If you don't see your first two things, then run." And then it cuts to Wilson doing his first two checks and then running, and it's like, hopefully this works out where like Rogers, we get a year or two out of him. Maybe Wilson can step in and maybe be the guy. Hopefully.
Yeah. Another funny thing that highlighted during the game was like how fast Thomas Morstead sprints off the field after he holds field goals. Like that was hilarious.
And the funny thing about it too, he just looks like some random dude. Like, he doesn't look like a football player. He looks like a guy that's just like his only job is to hold the ball, and then he like Naruto runs off the field. And the funny part too, he was like, what did he say? He's like, that's not even a full sprint. That's only like 80% or something. I'm like, I wonder how fast he could go if he was just full sprinting. Yeah, that was funny. And that was another good moment for Randall Cobb because Randall Cobb's like he's getting everybody together. He's like, look at what he does. Watch. The whole team's watching him. It's funny when they show the broadcast clip of Salah, and you just see like a blur go past the screen, and it's him. Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Morstead the Jet punter this year, so like hopefully he doesn't have to sprint that much when he's not doing field goals.
How much do you want to bet he like pulls a hamstring or something, and it's not even like from a punt? It's like he's sprinting off the field. I hope not, but yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the bummer of the game, obviously, you mentioned earlier, Izzy Canada gets hurt during the game. Like, they don't tell you really what happened during the episode. We did, I think, like 2 days ago, he has a thigh contusion, so it's not the worst case scenario, but he's out a few weeks.
Yeah, because that knee to knee contact when you see that, like, oof.
Yeah.
And it was scary too because you usually don't get the microphone when players going down, and when he's like, "I can't feel my leg," you're like heart sinks. You're like, oh no, is he done? Is that it? Especially, and his family's in the crowd. They're all cheering for him. His mom is getting pictures taken with him. Like the crowd's into it. It's a shame because like he was playing well enough where like maybe he could crack the final roster as like a third or fourth guy, I guess. Because I mean, you can keep rotating running backs, especially Paul's not going to be 100% right away. You don't know what Cook is, so you could have him into the mix. But now, I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, he was a 5th-round pick. I assume he's still gonna make the team, but like he might be inactive for a few weeks.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that has been playing very well, and you've seen him a bunch in Hard Knocks. I feel like Hard Knocks is only showing the people that are worth showing, and he's been on it 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, that does it for the episode. I will say I forgot about this until I saw the credits sequence here when Ralph Macchio is breaking down the jet hull. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I like how they keep doing. I like what they've been doing. Yeah, they've been saving the funny moment for the end of the credits. And what was I? So I maybe I missed the reference. What was Sauce trying to get him to say?
Because he said effing like instead of the actual F word.
Oh, okay. I thought he was trying to get him to quote like a Karate Kid thing or something, but like yeah, no, that was a funny guest appearance that I did not even know was happening, and then when it happened, I was like, that was cool. I'm glad he was there.
Because I saw on social media on their Instagram, like they did post like the photos of him breaking down the huddle. I was like, I forgot about it till the episode. I'm like, oh, good, they put it in.
Yeah, because he wasn't in any other part of the episode, right? It was just the credits.
Yeah, because usually they
I don't
do
think he
like.
was.
No, he wasn't. I mean, we've had a lot of famous people at Jets camp this year, so like he's in the latest one on the list.
Yeah, because the first week when Luke Schreiber was there, he was a part of it, but I guess he's also
Yeah,
the narrator, so you got to put him in it a little bit.
I mean they put Method Man in the episode too, like when he was there week one.
Yeah, that's right. And he was in the episode, not just the credits,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so well, at least he made the cut. That's what matters.
He was in that bit when they were going over all the famous people going to Jet camp, and he was it was like Method Man was like they showed him in the middle of the huddle. They didn't show what he was saying though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a cool one. Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this up here. Who is the MVP of the week for you?
I already kind of spoiled it before. I think I like Smart.
Yeah,
I like what he did this week. I like his attitude going into it. He's playing like he's got something to prove, and he's like actually doing it. And I think Salah took notice of that. It would be easy to give it to Hall or to the big names, but the big names are doing what the big names are supposed to do. I like what Smart's trying to bring to the team, so I'd give it to him.
I'll give Randall Cobb the MVP for the week because obviously I liked his speech to the receivers, and I thought the moment some people talk about was like him with his when he was telling his kids like that they were gonna have another sibling. That was also I think the moment that sticks out to me in the episode.
Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, Cobb's a good one too because it's a good humanizing moment for Cobb, and then they delve a little bit into his and Rogers' relationship. Like their last game together, they walked off the field together.
Yeah.
When moments like that make you realize, like, oh yeah, these aren't just like athletes; these are people, and that's a good pick.
Honorable mention to Jerome Cap, our rapping receiver.
Yeah, honorable mention. Yeah, but I thought about getting it to him, but he sang somebody else's song.
Yeah.
If he wrote his own rap and everybody was into it, then he's automatic MVP. But he's sang somebody else's song, so that's why he's covers don't get you the MVP. Covers only get you so far. No.
I also had to dock it because like they cut through the preseason game, like oh they must have had some catches. They showed him blocking. I'm like yeah, you had to catch the ball for me before you be an MVP consideration.
I think he got one catch, right? Yeah. He got one catch and he almost fumbled it,
Yeah.
but he was down. So yeah.
All right, here. So let's look ahead now. We have 2 weeks left of Hard Knocks here. Coming up next year, I have to give a look ahead to what I think we're going to see next week on the show here because obviously I think Jet Giant Week's going to be fun. They're going to make a huge deal out of Rodgers playing for the last preseason game with all the stars playing.
Yeah. So I guess how long do you think they play for? Because nobody wants to risk Rodgers getting hurt or anybody getting hurt. So like, what did they play like a drive?
I think
maybe like a quarter.
I think 2 series.
2 series, and then
That's
start
it.
bringing in all the backups.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
What do you think, Rodgers? I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there and like throws a pick,
Yeah.
or something, and then everybody's like, then we're gonna have to hear for a whole week, like, was Rodgers a waste of money? Is this what he has left in it? And I think, although you know what, knowing Rodgers, he's gonna throw like 2 touchdowns immediately on two drives or something, but.
Yeah, so Rodgers, we're going to see him. We'll see what's going on with him. I think we're also going to get the offensive line's a big deal next week because you get Dwayne Brown off the pup list. Then we get a big Mekhi Becton spot because he might be playing right tackle against the Giants. That'll be fun here. Plus, I don't know if you saw today, Corey Davis retired. I wonder if we forget something about that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so he retired today. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Corey. I don't want to say good because like he could have been a good asset, but I was wondering where he fits on this team. So like good for him. He's retired. He had a pretty solid year with career with Tennessee, and so I mean that kind of helps us a lot because we got a lot of wide receivers. So
yeah, that I think the focus is more so he retires in terms of like, hey, like let's look at these guys at the bottom of the roster now have an extra slot opened up because Corey Davis retired. So
maybe B Rabbit, maybe he's the guy.
Yeah, there are a few guys. He's the only one that really focused on. But there are a couple of them down there that are interesting. I'm gonna be surprised if we see like, oh, like these 3 guys now in the mix for 1 slot on the roster.
I think it's funny, ironically, that the guy who fumbled the ball on the last drive, his last name was Die, because like that's his career. It's dead, just like his name. So.
All right, I think it's a good place to wrap up the Hard Knock spot of the week, Nick. Thanks for coming on. If people want to follow your Twitch stream and stuff, how can they do that?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I'm always down to talk about the Jets. So yeah, you can follow me on twitch.tv/the recovery room. We stream Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And then from there, there's links to YouTube for archive of previous streams and stuff like that. So
All right, Nick. Thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
yeah, thanks.